Hey everyone, it's Anthony Kim, and over the past couple of years, I've had hundreds of calls, conversations, and clients with tutoring business owners that tell me the same narrative that they're too busy and can't dedicate the time towards marketing, or they never even considered it a priority. These people have their time and their calendars full of teaching classes, client communication, working on admins and operations that they didn't really even consider marketing. Now, what I found really ironic was that when they laid out what their problems and their goals were, ignoring marketing was a direct correlation to why these things are occurring and preventing them from getting to where they want to be. By actually working on their marketing in some shape or form, they were able to get themselves out of where they currently are with all these problems, with all these concerns, into a slightly better position where they were out of these problems and into some better new problems. It's the chain of life. And what I came to conclude was that it's not the problem that not enough people want your service. It's that not enough people know who you are or that you even exist. So what I kind of realized was that we need to consistently strive to put more efforts into getting people to know who we are. And that really is a term for this umbrella word called marketing. Now, I don't really blame these people. When we think of marketing, the first thing that really comes to a lot of our minds, it's a bit of a rite of passage, is working on the website. The website is the first thing that we think of when we say, how can we improve our marketing? But as a tutoring business owner and a business owner in general, the website is rarely what we want to focus on. The website improves the people that already know who we are and the people who already are going to be viewing our stuff, but it doesn't expand the reach of who we are able to address. True marketing looks like improving our visibility, so appearing on more places, more platforms. It looks like building trust and credibility through the actual posts that we do or how we appear as a brand. And lastly, it's working on conversion, so getting more people to actually sign up to our stuff, provide their contact details, or purchase our services. So if you're not working on these three things, your visibility, your trust, as well as your conversions, every single week, you're not doing marketing properly. Your business is kind of like farming. So tutoring, your service that you do, is cooking, right? It's taking the ingredients and cooking and producing a dish that people come to you for. Marketing is the process of getting your ingredients, growing your crops, your livestock. That is marketing. Now, as an extra layer, referrals would be the seeds of your existing crops and the spawn of your existing livestock. It compounds, assuming that you have a solid base of agriculture and flora fauna, right? You can't rely on referrals if you don't have a marketing system in place where you can actually get ingredients in. So think of it like that. Marketing is a process of getting you resources and getting you the attention in your business. A term that gets thrown around quite often is the word bottleneck. So identifying what the bottleneck is of your business is synonymous to finding what the largest problem is that, once unlocked, will propel you to your next level, to your next destination quite significantly. There are layers and levels to the number of problems that we have and their scale. So we could have a problem that's like a level 1. Solving that won't really do much for us. It might, save an hour a week. Whereas a larger problem, the bottleneck, we say, once solved, will essentially get us much more returns by actually addressing it. Now, at the early stages of business, the business owner themselves is the largest bottleneck. At this scale, you don't have many staff, you don't have as many clients, you don't have your systems in place, and you're still figuring out a lot about how you position yourself and your offer within your market. At this stage, the business owner is the largest bottleneck, and what you do on a daily basis and the amount of time you put into different tasks largely dictate where you will be in the next few months or years, and your entire business as a whole. So at this stage, and at the stages adjacent to this stage, it's incredibly important that we understand the importance of marketing and how that ties into all the other tasks that we have involved in our day-to-day. Many of the business owners I talked to were in this category, doing less than, let's say, $30,000, $40,000 per month, and being the largest bottleneck of the business for one reason or another. They were spending too much time on tasks that they shouldn't be spending time on, almost entirely, and that was causing the business to not reach the potential of the trajectory and the speed that it could be growing by. So what I did was I created this pie chart that collected a lot of the responses I got from our clients before they started working with us, or just the conversations and calls that we had, into a spread on what they were spending their actual working hours on. As you can see, the majority, 40%, was on teaching classes, then came 30% on admin and operations, 20% on client communication, answering questions, providing resources, and only the minority 10% on actual importances like marketing, hiring, strategy. And this should really be flipped. The majority of your time should be spent on growing your business by reaching more people, by delegating, eliminating, and automating a lot of the tasks that you're doing that could be delegated, automated, and deleted, and working on strategy. And now I learned this personally. In the early stages, in the very early stages, I learned that I could do a better job than a lot of other people at that I could potentially hire. And that was to be expected given that I spent more time thinking and working within the business. And when I came time to hire people, they of course started at a worse position than I was currently right now, once again, given the fact that I had more time and experience in that particular task. But give it, a few weeks, train them up, and I found that it was much more effective, faster, and a better use of my time to hire people and have them do the tasks, whereas I could spend time on these two things, on marketing, hiring, and strategy. So to put this into place, one effective thing that I learned and I applied was I took Sundays off. Now, on usual days, I worked Sundays on not these particular things, but more like admins and operations and service fulfillment on Sundays. But I took Sundays off completely to solely focus on strategy, to just think about the trajectory of the business and to spend the entire day kind of doing the marketing side of things and the strategy side of things and planning for the weeks, months, and quarters ahead. So I implore you to do that as well as a business owner. If you can, take Sundays off and focus on strategy, focus on things that really propel your business at a macro level. Unfortunately, with teaching classes, client communications, and admins and operations, these are things that you can not only delegate to other people or automate through technology, software, and AI, but it's things that are just purely not worth your time. At this stage, you're still trading your time for money, and as the business owner, you should be the one responsible for not only keeping the business alive, but propelling it to the next level, to that level of growth that it can attain. As a rough benchmark, as a tutor business owner, if you're spending more than 10 hours a week on tutoring and classes, that is not an efficient use of your time. So reconsider how you could implement ways to bring in talented staff so that you can decrease your hours and spend more time on the things that are more prevalent and are more important to you. Now, I'm going to assume that most of you probably don't exactly know how your time is spread. You couldn't even make a pie chart at the moment if I told you to and I asked you to. So what I did to identify how my time was spent when I was at the early stages of my business was I used a sheet like this, a simple Google sheet that kind of illustrated what I was doing with each unit of time that I had in a week. So I spread out my time in each of the individual days from Monday to Sunday or Thursday to Wednesday in this case. And then what I did was I wrote down exactly what I did in every 30-minute intervals. As soon as my alarm hit that 30-minute, I set a timer for every single 30 minutes. And then I just categorized the tasks that I was doing, whether it be sleep, biological imperatives like going to the toilet, showering, eating. Eating, I had a separate category for. If I was on service fulfillment and working, I would highlight that. If I was aimlessly scrolling on YouTube, I would mark that. Now, I hope you're not on short form. That is quite detrimental. But if I was on social media, if I was socializing, I would just label that. If I was reading, if I was, at that stage, I was also doing tutoring myself. So if I was tutoring, if I was driving, all of these things that I had here, I would label them in this sheet. And then what I did was I went at the end of the day and labeled each of these as either value or waste, not arbitrarily, depending on what I think was a good use of my time and was productive, but rather on what actually contributed to my business's growth. Sleep, absolutely. I mentioned that before. The business owner is the largest bottleneck, and a large part of that is their health and their condition and the energy level. So sleep was value to my business. So was, biological imperatives, as that helped me perform. Work, on service, that was value. Eating, of course, value. What was waste, I would say, was socializing. Now, in general, I think socializing is great. I would not be the person to go like, you should not socialize. You should go all in on your business and don't do anything else. I would not say that. Socializing is absolutely worth it, and it will help you in so many ways mentally. So in that case, I should have labeled it a value. However, the time I spent socializing took time away from work in the business. So by that definition, I had to label it as waste. Similar to tutoring. In a way, it was helping me. It was helping in many ways, although it was outside of my business, so I had to label it as waste. The content creation I did on this day was waste, whereas on the right side, on Friday, it was value, because the content creation I was doing and the ideas I was getting out wasn't related to my business. It was more to do with personal brand, whereas this was related to the business, and so I labeled it as value. I can see on the right side driving, absolute waste, eating value, social waste, reading value. So what I recommend is, if you don't know how your time is exactly spent, let's say you don't have a really calendar that you really stick to, even if you do have a calendar, using the 100 units of time really kind of brings a magnifying glass into how you're spending each time block of your day spread through a week. And after you take the week, you can kind of average out how you're spending your time. And then you can get to determine what you can eliminate, what you can delegate, and what you can automate from this. Let's say you're spending 5 hours a day on tutoring classes as a business owner, and you're doing that 5 days a week. That is not the best use of your time. So you can identify that and then go, hey, how can I kind of remove the time I'm spending here to then work on more meaningful things? And of course, tutoring is meaningful, however, more meaningful to your business to propel it to the next level. So really be considerate about where your time is going as a business owner, especially if you're in the early stages. Now, whenever I look at this 100 units of time, I think back to one of our clients in the past that came to us wanting to outsource all of their marketing efforts. They understood how important marketing was to the trajectory and growth of a business, and because her business was stagnant with getting the same number of leads and not being able to grow in revenue, size, or capacity, they were concerned, and so they came to us. Now, we identified that her time wasn't best spent. We got them to complete the 100 units of time, and we identified that a lot of her working hours consisted of filing invoices, taking way too many classes than she should, communicating with parents, creating resources unnecessarily that she could templatize, and as a result, she genuinely didn't have the time to dedicate to marketing, and you might be in a similar position. But then what we did was we saw how we could offload a lot of the tasks that she was currently doing and that was taking up a lot of her calendar to other staff or to automation and software, or just completely eliminate. She could also hire other staff to handle admin and operations, which she did. And what that resulted in was freeing up more than 11 hours per week for her, so an average of 3 to 4 hours per working day. And then she was able to dedicate that towards the marketing efforts. So things like content creation, things like strategy and hiring. Those were things that she was able to do and that she always wanted to do. So after we offloaded all of those tasks, we were actually able to build in a system where she didn't have to rely on referrals anymore, and she didn't have that variability. We had a more consistent appointment booking system. She had more time on her hands, more meaning from the years of efforts and the blood, sweat, and tears she put into the business in the past. She was able to actually reap those rewards through more money, through more students, through more meaning, actually working on the business and growing it. And she just had more fun and time. So that was a huge win. Marketing is one aspect of your tutoring business. There's so many parts. There's fulfillment, there's communications, there's hiring, there's marketing. But marketing is one thing that propels and boosts up, levels up, and experience shares all of these other aspects as well. By having effective marketing, you increase your sales. If you're taking sales yourself, or if you have a sales rep, their job becomes much easier because marketing means that more people know about you, more people know about your brand, more people hear from you, you get more leads and conversations coming in. So you can get more sales conversions, and your percentages can go up from signing on 20% of the people that talk to you to 50, 60%. It becomes much easier through marketing. Your service becomes better through marketing because more people are coming to you, you can get more students, more feedback, and improve your service as a whole. Better marketing and more leads, meaning that you can actually pick and choose those that you can help the most. I know a lot of tutoring company owners and business owners in general, they help whoever comes to them. Whoever says, they raise their hand and go like, hey, I need your help. They take on whoever they can. But the best businesses turn down offers. They look at who they can turn down because they can't help, and they take on people and be extremely, extremely helpful to those that they can truly help, and that the confident can see the biggest transformations, right? And that results in better testimonials, better reviews, and glowing 5-star reviews at that, which means that you'll get more business, more trust, and more authority in your market and in your niche. Students will also stay with you longer because they're getting more value from you as a trickle-on effect and a domino effect from all these other factors. Better sales, better leads, better testimonials and case studies. The students will retain for longer. They'll trust you, they'll listen to you, and they'll follow your process much more. And in general, you'll have less nightmare clients because you're working with those that you can truly help. So at this stage, I hope you understand a little bit more on why marketing is so important. But how do we actually get working on marketing? Well, just going back here, marketing is oxygen. It's what you need to breathe. And yet it becomes so confusing because there's so many cogs and systems into it. We want a system that makes it so easy to work on your marketing and to have something in place. So marketing is oxygen. What you want to do is kind of go through this step-by-step actionable here. The first thing you want to do to get started in marketing effectively is decide what you're selling and to who in detail. What do they do? What do they want from you? What does the day-to-day look like? Create an ideal client avatar, and just one. You don't want multiple avatars. You want one core client avatar, and that looks like something super detailed. What year level are they? What are their parents like? What do their parents do for work? Whereabouts do they live? Where does their students go to school? Go really detail about their day-to-day, as well as the problems and they're experiencing and the goals that they have. Then you want to clarify one core offer to present to your client avatar depending on what you're selling. Now, as a reminder, offer is a widely confused word. Offer, in simply put, just means a nicely packaged way to present your service or product and provide value in exchange for money. So taking your service, taking the most important details like the outcome, the time frame, the cost, presenting it in a nice way to your market. And then you want to set one clear growth goal and choose one core marketing channel. That's the first thing you want to do to get started with marketing. And I'm assuming as a business owner that's already started, you've already probably done a lot of these, but probably not in great detail. These are incredibly important. It's big enough to say that your offer and your avatar is the most important thing out of anything you could work on in marketing. By nailing your offer and your client avatar, you could do so much more than any work on your website, any work on your funnel, any work on any ads or YouTube. That is the single most important thing. Work on your client avatar and your offer. And when I say core marketing channel, I've just got some examples here, right? You can present on Instagram, like I did here. You can present on YouTube. We could have a landing page and a funnel that goes through all of this. It's all core marketing channels. You want to just think of how we can reach more students, whether it be presenting on social media, whether it be using social media paid ads. It could be flyers and local events. It could be lead generation events. Think of one core marketing channel that you want to focus on and do your research. What does your market actually want? It's as easy as going to your clients and going like, how did you hear about us? Did you come from referrals? Did you come from searching us up on Google? Did you come from YouTube? And ask and survey your clients where they actually spend their time on. You want to put yourself, your face and your business and your brand in front of where they'll actually be. So some other core marketing channels, right, in more detail is TikTok. There's so many tutoring business owners that upload on TikTok and get all of their customers on TikTok. Lookman here's an example. They post on TikTok and that's where all the students come from because their market is year 11 and 12 students. Year 11 and 12 students hang out on TikTok, Instagram, and they're the ones that reach out, not the parents. If you're like Speaking Schools Australasia, where your target market are young kids, so you help those from like 5 to middle school, then you probably want to target the parents. Parents are ultimately the ones that are going to reach out to you and that you're going to have a conversation with, so they post on Facebook. If you're very local based and there's not many competition around you, you really want to connect to your local community, you can create events and be more local. All of them are effective marketing channels if it resonates with your target market and your ideal client avatar. Now then, after you identify these things, what you want to do is start posting at a consistent cadence. So it might be every 5 days. It might be every 7 days if it's a longer form like YouTube. If it's a post, you can do that every day. If it's a short form post like TikTok or Instagram, you can do that every day. If it's an event, it might be once a month. You want to stick to a cadence and do it without stopping for at least 18 months. If I selected Instagram or let's say TikTok as my platform, I would be posting one video a day every single day indefinitely for at least 18 months. How many videos is that? That's 30 times 18. That's 540 pieces. You want to do at least that many every single day for the 18 months minimum. Same with events, same with Facebook. Now, events might be a little bit more hard. You'll need a hire a place. It would need some traction and marketing efforts outside of the event itself. But if I was posting on content, I want to stick to a cadence and I want to post regularly, frequently, come hell or high water. And now this doesn't have to be hard. What I like to do is I like to kind of allocate, when I was first starting off, I would allocate one day where I would bang out and record, let's say 7 videos, 7 short form videos in that 1, 2 hour, 3 hour block. And then I would have it all prepared for the entire week. I could post every single day. You want to time block and manage your time as efficiently as possible without, adding tasks that take up even more of your time from your busy schedule already. So just time block 2 to 3 hours every single day, once a week rather, to just bang out a lot of pieces of content. And trust me, this will go a very, very long way in the mid to long term. I personally spend the first 2 hours as soon as I wake up working on the highest leverage tasks in deep work. And for me, what I found was that it was outreach and it was content. So every single day, the first 2 hours, I spend my time coming up with content, recording the content, and working on tasks that relate to my outreach and relate to my method of generating more leads and getting more customers and appearing in front of more people so they know that we exist. That's my first 2 hours. It's the highest leverage task, and I want to illustrate this by showing you these logos. So we've got acquisition.com, we've got Apple, Amazon, Tesla, and IAG. Now, I want to ask you, what do these companies have in common? They're successful, they're large, I believe they're all American companies, but that's not it. The key thing is that acquisition.com has Alex and Layla Hormozi. Apple has Steve Jobs, Amazon has Jeff Bezos, Tesla has Elon Musk, and IAG has Iman Gadzhi. All of these companies have the key person of influence, somebody that actually appears identically and in parallel with the business's brand itself. And why is that important? It's because people listen to people. Sure, we trust brands like Apple, sure, we trust brands like Amazon through using them over time, but ultimately people listen to people, and so you want to start posting content with your phrase, and as a business owner, become that key person of influence within your market. Be the person that people can come to and trust you as the face of the business. And how we can do that is just by regularly sticking to this cadence of posting all the time and appearing in your ads, appearing in your events, being the one that people can come to. Don't be that invisible person that stays behind the screen that people don't know who run your business. You want to be the person that really comes out that people can come to. So the last thing I want to kind of talk about is the simplest tutoring marketing system. Many tutoring companies, after hearing all that, they still go, okay, how does a marketing system actually look like? Well, let me tell you, you want to start with one core offer. Start with one core offer that we mentioned above in the actionables. Then come up with one follow-up rule. So what that means is, let's say you post and you get leads. You just want one scripted message where you can actually reply to people. You want to come with one time constraint. So with your offer, you want to kind of frame it around the time. So let's say it's a 90-day offer, it's a 180-day offer, it's a 6-month offer, it's a one-term offer. Just come with a time constraint, which creates a bit more urgency. And at the same time, it creates a bit more desire, because you don't want something that takes an indefinite amount of time to pull off. A great offer usually comes with a time constraint. So coming off of that, you want to start posting content. So start with one long form video per week. It could be on YouTube, usually is on YouTube. After one long form video per week, you then want to turn it into 5 short clips. And then you want to select one platform to post on only, depending on that marketing actionable we did before, where you identified where does your clients and your avatar hang out. If it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, so be it, post on one platform only for the time being. Then you want one clear way for them to get in touch with you, whether that be a landing page. You should just start simple, start with the DMs. So a lot of these social medias that you'll be posting on, they're going to have an opportunity and a place for them to DM you. So Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger. YouTube doesn't, but you can funnel that into an Instagram account or an email where you can, or even better, a landing page that they can directly schedule in. And then you want one simple Google Sheet to just track the leads. This is the most fundamental, very, very basic lead tracking system, CRM, where you can just track all the leads that come to you. It could be from referrals, it could be from the content that you're posting, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it be, you can just list it there. And then on the side of that, you also want to have a system for referrals where you're asking for testimonials consistently. You have a referral script in calls. So let's say you have a first time call with a client, a nice word to say is like, okay, hey, thanks for signing on. By the way, do you have anyone else that might benefit from this program? They might not, but most of the time you'll find that you'll be surprised, because many of them do. A lot of great things about the tutoring market is that students have friends, and they feel much more comfortable going with tutoring classes if they're actually able to go with their friends. So having that line alone can get you much more signups and revenue. You can also have a clear referral incentive for your existing customers. So if you give them a cashback or a discount or a free exam pack or program, an incentive actually motivates them to bring you referrals, and it's in line with what they want as well, right? Their students want their friends to be in the same class as them, so incentives are great. This truly is the simplest of simple tutoring marketing systems. Posting content regularly in long and short form in one place and one way for them to reach you, as well as asking for referrals on the back of that. In addition to this, later on, when you are at scale, you can post on more platforms. You can post on a more regular cadence, like once every 5 days. You can also introduce ads if you have a verified offer, and you can start posting ads with a landing page and a funnel, but that's for later. You can just focus on the simplest tutoring marketing system for now, and it will get you those results that you want. Now, to finish this video off, I just want to talk through a bit of an analogy that I realized after talking to all of these tutoring business owners. And that's that this entire tutoring market, it's a bit like a stadium where We have all these tutoring business owners in the field wanting to reach the audience members, and they're all shouting, top of their lungs, loud as they can, to reach these people. Now, the better tutoring businesses, what they were able to do was they were able to use a microphone to spread their voice and reach more people in the audience. And that's exactly what content is. You're able to use your existing voice and what you post, and you're able to reach a wider audience and get more people to look towards you. The even better businesses that were doing great, they were purchasing the billboard. They're running paid ads. They're running paid ads alongside content. They've got a microphone as well as the billboards up there, getting the attention of the people every now and then on a much larger scale. And the best businesses, they were the ones that are performing on stage. They were the persons of influence in the entire market. They were the ones not only doing ads, content, but they were actually doing live events. They were doing all of these different factors within marketing and getting the attention on a more widespread level. Now, my question to you is, where are you right now? Are you just shouting at the top of your lungs, hoping somebody comes to you and hears what you do among all these other competition? Are you the one with the microphone that are doing things here and now? Are you the one on the billboard, or are you the one performing on stage? And where do you think you should be so your business has the best chances of growing and beating your competitors? Thanks so much for watching. If you struggle with getting appointments and getting that consistent stream of students, just click the link in the description. Other than that, I'll see you next time.